Well, what you're looking at here is the timer itself, the timer switch, and I'm checking to see if the screws actually fit. And again, you'd be surprised at how many times I've got something and one thing doesn't work, but I've got 20 things hooked up to it before I figure it out. Um, Now this is the Frigidaire wash machine timer switch, and I'm not going to be showing you how I took it apart, but I will be showing you how I'm putting it together. Here's the timer going back into its position, and I'm going to hook up. It had two electrical connections, one on the top and one on the bottom, and I suggest that you, when you're taking it apart, you make sure that you mark which ones, maybe write it down on a piece of paper, that the white one goes on the top or the black one goes on the bottom, because I had a hard time figuring it out because they look like they were exactly the same connection, and I almost got a feeling that they can actually clip into the same area, but however I must have got it right because the wash machine did work. And again, I will be commenting on different things throughout the video, and if I don't have nothing to say, well, what the heck, I run out of things to say every once in a while. I made the video, I didn't make the video of me taking it apart. I figured if you could see me putting it back together, you'd get an idea how to take it apart. And the biggest problem I had, and that's the reason why I actually made the video, is I couldn't find any information anywhere on the internet that explained how to get the knob off of the front, and that was the biggest problem I had, was getting off. And of course it unscrews. There are no pins, there's no clips, there's no gadgetry in there, which I figured it out just by accident. There it is, the switch, the timer going in to the proper position. I've already hooked the electrical up, and now I'm going to put a couple of screws in the front there. And again, I already checked these screws to make sure that they worked. And that might not be a bad idea for you either. It's just to check them to make sure that they actually do work. And this really wasn't a difficult job. I was kind of shocked. Now what caused all of this was how I noticed there was a problem with the timer was we actually dump all of our gray water into our yard, and it was really starting to dump the water in. It's like the fresh water coming into the wash machine just kept running and running and running, and we're looking in the backyard a couple of times. We got a big old puddle back there, and this is obviously something that most people might not even realize, because and that's me screwing the screw in for the front cover too. There were about 5 screws, I think, on that. I would imagine most people wouldn't realize that unless they were standing in front of the wash machine actually watching it wash, or realizing that, hey, wait a minute, this thing's taking forever to wash our clothes. But what I was going to say you're not going to realize is because most of the gray water, or the water that is leaving the wash machine, gets dumped into a drain and goes down the sewer pipes or into septic tanks, and it wouldn't be as noticeable. And again, I really don't know. The first time I noticed it, I looked in the backyard and it was practically flooded, and I thought, was it the sprinklers? Was it something else? And then it happened twice. It happened another time, because it didn't happen all at once. It happened over about a 2-month period. And of course, once I replaced the timer, I couldn't believe how efficiently the machine was operating and how much water it actually used. So it's even like I was talking to my wife, and we were kind of thinking this timer's probably been broken for quite some time now. Now, I did have a problem putting these screws in. Wouldn't be a bad idea to tape it on to your screwdriver or something. Use a magnetic screwdriver. I really had a difficult time getting. They were right in the corner. And again, when you're taking this thing apart, you know, you're probably going to think, hey, where are these screws at? You're going to have to look for them on the back there. They are there. They're in some tough spots. I want to say there was 3 of them that were hard to put in, and this was one of them. And when I say hard to put in, they're easier to get out than they are to put in, obviously. And again, this is attaching the front panel to the wash machine itself. Now this is part 1. I'm going to go ahead and make a part 2, so look for that. They will have the same title. Should be easy to find.